Hey friends, welcome back to my channel, and if you're new, welcome. Today I'm going to take you on an island tour of Bonaire. I booked this tour through Viator, and I'll be sure to put a link in the description box so you can book this tour too. And be sure to subscribe to my channel for more travel content. So the first site we're coming up on is the main fire station for the airport as well as majority of the island. So that kind of tells you just how small the island really is, that fire station that you saw there in yellow serves pretty much everything. So next up, as you can see here, are these beautiful pink salt lakes. Our guide told us how the salt is made from the water evaporating and leaving behind the salt. The salt looks like fluffy snow at first as it forms, and then as the sun dries it, it turns it into those beautiful salt crystals. Our tour guide, y'all, was so incredible. We learned so much history on this tour, and he was even training a new tour guide who was riding along with us, and you'll probably see him pop up throughout this video. So just keep watching. So the sad history, though, behind these salt lakes is that during colonization, the salt lakes were worked by slaves brought over to the island of Bonaire. Unfortunately, that was a sad time in history for like all of the Americas and the Caribbean, but now the salt lakes are worked by machinery and it's a great business for the island. So as we're riding along, check out the beautiful salt pyramids that are coming up. The salt pyramids are beautiful, and that's kind of where the salt is going to get ready to export. The salt is exported across that conveyor belt over into the ships that dock by the island, and then it's exported mostly to the United States. And then we're going to come up on the spots where the ocean water runs in and out of those salt lakes. It brings the water in to harvest the salt, and then the water runs back out. Here where you see those fences, the water can run back out into the ocean once the salt is kind of harvested out of that ocean water, and that's pretty cool as well. The salt was just so beautiful, you guys. And then we're going to come up on a place on the side of the road by one of those conveyor belts where you can stop and you can see the salt crystals that fall off of the conveyors as they take the salt out to the ships docked to export the salt away from the island. It was so cool, you all, to just get out and touch the salt crystals. They were too cute and they felt so cool. And you can even take some of the salt with you. Our tour guide did make a joke that when the Germans come over to the island, like all this salt that's on the side here disappears. But so our next stop coming up, you guys, was a lot less beautiful and actually pretty heartbreaking. These are the slave huts where the slaves who worked those salt lakes had to sleep while they were working. Our guy said that typically they would have to sleep 6 to a hut. Here are some of the pictures for size comparison coming up. I'm the same height as the slave huts, and Lily is going to stand inside of one, and you can see that like she can barely fit into the doorway, you guys. So glad this part of history is over. But next up, we did pass some of the wild cotton that's still growing on the island on the sides of the roads. At one point, slaves were used for cotton production as well on the island, but that was not such a big business for Bonaire, so it was mostly the salt production. But the tour guide in training did get out and get us a piece of cotton so that we could look at it and touch it and see what it was like. So next up, we will be going through this pretty cool street where about for a half a mile long, there are about 7 supermarkets. This was like supermarket row right here. Like literally, you can just walk down the strip of supermarkets and get whatever you needed because there were tons of them. Strange, but also pretty cool. All right, and moving right along, we are getting ready to pass a building that was very beautiful, but our tour guide pointed out this building because it is the only radio station on the island that still transmits in AM. And they do this because AM has a much farther reach than if they were to transmit in FM, so they can broadcast out to more people, which was pretty cool because even here in the US, I don't think very many people broadcast in AM anymore. So that was interesting. And now we're moving along to the neighborhood called Hato. And in Hato, our tour guide mentioned that all of the streets have Dutch names. So that's pretty cool. And now here I want you to listen to our tour guide.
Okay, here to our left we have Captain Don's habitat. Captain Don Stewart is an American pioneer. Is the one who brought the scuba diving industry to Bonaire. And he stayed here, he died here, and he still have a grave here in the cemetery near to the hospital. And most importantly is the great contrast of Bonaire. In front of us we can see tanks to the left and tanks to the right. The tanks on the left are from Wet Bonaire water desalination plant, those, and the tanks to the right are from Cure Oil. Cure Oil is short for Curacao Oil Company. Tanks to the left you have drinking water, and the right you have gasoline, diesel, kerosene, and so forth. So, as a contrast, to the left we have drinking water, and right across the street, poison.
So as you heard in that last clip, our tour guide was so knowledgeable but also funny. He made jokes like the whole ride and it was great. So now we're here at 1,000 Steps, Bonaire. The 1,000 Steps isn't really 1,000 steps, but it's a lot of them. We did not walk down all those steps, but we did walk down a little ways to check out the views. It was beautiful, such a beautiful place. And it's a great place that people can go to swim, snorkel, dive, whatever. Y'all, that water. Look at that water. It was just absolutely amazing. And now our tour guide is going to take us over to a place that you cannot get in and swim because it's a nature reserve. But this is Lake Gotemir. I'll type it on the screen because I'm probably messing that up. I don't speak any Dutch. But this is just a natural habitat. It's a saltwater lake in the middle of the island. And it's a place where the flamingos hang out. And next up, we're getting close to the end of our tour. But first, we're going to head to Rincon. Rincon is on the north side of the island. And this used to be where the airport was located, and it was also the capital of Bonaire at one point. But now all of that, the airport and the capital, has moved to Kralinjek. So it's no longer in Rincon. However, one of my favorite stops on this tour was in Rincon, and that was the Kadushi Distillery. So that is where we're headed now. At the Kadushi Distillery, we were able to go in and we were welcomed in with a shot of their cactus liqueur, which is what they're known for. And it was so good, you all. If you're ever in Bonaire, have a taste of that cactus liqueur. It was great. Then we were taken in and given a little lesson on how that liqueur is made. He gave us a rundown, showed us all the ingredients, and that's always pretty cool. I love to visit a distillery. And then he took us over to see where other spirits were made, because they don't just make liqueurs, they also make liquor. So they have spirits, tequila, vodka, gin. They make all of that in here as well. And after that, we were able to hang out in the distillery. It's a beautiful place. You can sit down, have a drink. There's tons of animals running around there. There were birds, lizards, iguanas. So you can just come on in here and have a good time. What are the orange birds?
Yeah, that's tupials.
Tupials.
Yeah, that's parrots and no, they are.
Our guide even gave me a little bird watching lesson while we were hanging out in the distillery. And now, as we're nearing the end of our tour, we just rode around. We saw some wildlife, some wild goats and donkeys, because they're everywhere throughout the island. And then we came back to the main side of Kralinjek, where the government buildings are, as well as the tourist section. Right here on the water, you'll find all your tourist shops. You'll find bars, especially one that's famous is Ocean Oasis Beach Club. You've probably heard of that if you've been doing research on Bonaire. I recommend checking it out. It's right on the water. This is also where boats come to dock. People go in and swim. All kinds of things go on in this area. But you guys, this is the end of our tour. Our hotel is right on the other side of this little tourist area. So this is the end of the tour of Bonaire for us. I hope you all enjoyed it. And be sure to subscribe for more travel content.